Greetings ladies and gentlemen, I am SocioPsycho and today we take a look at Space Run. This was created by Past Tech Games for Windows. Now it makes itself sort of a tower defense strategy game where you fly through space doing different missions, gaining credits as a transport carrier, but there will be many obstacles in the way which you'll need to actually build up your ship. As you can see on this little introductory page, there's different cargoes and different layouts of how you build your ship. Now I'm really torn by this game, and getting this review out took a little longer than I wanted because of that. The line of personal expectations versus game mechanics and how well they worked was really blurred for me on this one. So I'm going to go into that and also not only what you get but what you don't get, as I feel it's very important, as you may have hoped or desired for something that you may not actually get, like myself. So first you create your profile, and then when you go into the game. Now the game actually has a pretty large story base attached to it, and that was surprising. I mean, I was kind of expecting one, but not to the scale or the voice acting quality that they have. There are, as you can see, different missions offered by different people. Each mission has a little explanation upon what's going on, as well as understanding the different character traits of the person giving them. Not every mission has a scripted out voice acting dialogue, but it has enough to a point where it bridges the gaps and it makes the stories flow smoothly and it immerses you, and that's really what's important. The atmosphere of the game really does an excellent job of putting you into the character as a transport cargo freelancing space-ateer. Now, when we go into the options menu here, you have SFX, volume, music, and speech. Like I said, the speech is really good. I wasn't expecting as much of a story as there was in this game. Not to the point of how polished it actually is. It really immerses you into the game. I don't think the music by itself is anything really all that fascinating, but it helps propel the atmosphere of the game as well as the world. The choices and selections of how they made it have been really excellently done, I think, and I've not found the basic sounds of the game to be annoying or anything else. Now, there's not a whole lot of different choices and graphic settings, but the game isn't graphically overpowering in any fashion. It's a pretty simplistic graphically looking game, and it doesn't need to be anything else because it actually runs very smooth. I've been running the game at 60 frames per second with no issues of any type. The game's polish and the way that it plays and handles has been stellar. You have different resolutions, and as you can see, and all the controls can be rebound. So when it comes down to your ship, and this is where my expectations versus the reality of the game kind of clash. When we go into the engineering bay, the higher your reputation gets and the more money you end up having, the more things that will unlock for you to be able to purchase during your missions. It's pretty standard, as most tower defense games will unlock more towers to you as you rise above and higher in the ranks. The better you do in missions, the more reputation you get. The more reputation you get, the more options of different towers you have to be able to purchase and apply to your ship for that mission. You have your offensive modules right here, as you can see. There's a good variation and variety of them, and how everything handles in the game, in the modules, whether it be the force fields, the mega shields, the laser cannons. I didn't feel like any of the towers were really worthless, and they each have their own different unique quality, and they each have their own use. Power generators, space thrusters, fusion reactors. There's different varieties and variations of options which will increase different aspects of the ship. A higher fusion reactor will make more powerful shields, will allow more energy to different laser cannons. And then you have different cargoes. Now the thing about cargoes is different missions have different objectives, and on these different objectives you'll be needed to transport different types of cargoes. These range from different styles of size and requirements. The individual rooms require a power generator to keep everything active, where the nuclear crystal takes up a lot of space on your ship. And should some of the more volatile cargo that you're carrying be destroyed by the enemy, it will blow up and damage or destroy the adjacent structures that you placed on your ship. And then the last tab is just basically a bestiary about all the different things that you can fight and come across. Now, when it comes down to a story, one thing I want to show here is that it was an odd decision, because the main thing is that you're getting attacked by smugglers, marauders, pirates, and whatnot. But then you go and you fight light transports and fuel providers. this is if it had the word pirate fuel provider or marauding transport, it would make a little bit more sense, because the way you feel is the story propels you as a delivery boy and you're being attacked continuously by pirates, but then you come across like a light transport and your guns will automatically attack it. And it just gives this sour taste in your mouth, because here you are in a totally different character mindset and now you're attacking a light transport, which is by all means completely innocent. It sours the way the game feels sometimes, but not to a point where it breaks the style. It's just a bad taste in your mouth and you're like, ugh. Now, like I said, as you can see when we go to this tab, there are different missions and different providers of those missions. There's also boss battles. Now, any mission with wrenches and a skull means that there'll be a boss battle there. The stars here equal a reputation that you have completed on each mission. If we go into something like this, you can see I have not done the best that I could. So let us go into one of these and show you sort of what you can expect from a game, as well as allow me to sort of voice my discontent. Now, as you can see, for this mission, this is the type of ship you have. And if you're hoping to be able to create your own ship, you will not be able to. So when we look at this one, you are able to use this ship. But if we go back and we do another mission and we jump in here, you'll see that the ship is completely different. Now, these ships are the equivalent to different map types, as you would come to know it in other tower defense games. Because in a basic tower defense game, you place towers on a map, enemies come through. This one is a little bit of a switch on the take, which is perfectly fine. Innovation is, recommended, and I welcome it. On a standard tower defense game, you place the towers on a map, the enemy walks through your towers, and you have to try to stop them. This one's different because it gives you a different ship, and it says here, you have to make it through the enemies instead of the enemies trying to make it through you. And while that take on it is perfectly fine by me, what I'm disappointed in is the fact that you do not get the option to create your own ship. Every mission has its different missional ship attached to the difficulty of that mission. It tries to balance it out, and I respect that, and I get that, but it really disappoints me the fact that there is not even an option on the top saying standard ship, and if you press standard ship, it'll give you the ship that they recommended for this mission. And then if you had on the other side your ship, and you were able to actually create your own ship, that would have propelled the game a lot more. And that's what I was really hoping to see in the game, and unfortunately was not able to. There is no capability to you to actually be able to create your own ship, and it makes me disappointed in the game, actually. As you can see, there's different modules to each of these, and you simply just place the cargo upon where you want. But this takes up space on your ship, so where you decide to place it, you won't be able to place any of the towers, any of the cannons, shield generators, engines. I would have liked to see a lot more customizational options available to me in the game. It would have made a far more personal touch, but unfortunately that's not what they did. As you can see, I'm placing down different cargoes that rely onto the ship, and then you have a choice of where you want to put the engine. Once you finish, then you have your basic layout. You don't have any money score that you're able to put onto the ship before the mission starts. As soon as the mission starts, you're able to. When we press start here, and you see this landing platform, this runway, I love this animation. I love how it shows off, but I also hate it because it goes back into what I was saying about how the difference, if you're able to create your own ship and you were able to customize it and carry it and make it through different missions and maps, seeing it shown off on that runway would have been spectacular. It would have added such a option of personalization and given you such more connection to the game and the characters itself, as well as replayability, because you would be able to do things your way. If you did 6 missions and after all that hard work and all the money you collected, you were able to get that special twin cannon blaster or that mega super power shield that really shows off your own custom ship, and every time you fly out for another mission, you're able to see that. You're able to see all the hard work that you put into the game. That would significantly increase your ties and enjoyment in the game versus just continuously seeing a blank ship fly out of the hangar every single time, which only reinforces the statement that everything you have done is meaningless. So this is a good example of what I'm talking about here, private shuttle. You're not a pirate, but it kind of doesn't care. And see an asteroid hit right there. So we'll hotfix from the engineering bay and it gives 150. So I want to slow down here and not go too fast. So we're actually going to take out our engines. We're going to be dead in the water. And it'll slow us down so we can and discuss sort of what's going on. Now this is your basic layout screen. And as you can see right here is you have your cargo hold. I have 4 pieces of cargo I was able to transport, and in these 4 I still have all of them. This is my reputation of how well I'm doing on a mission. And on the timeline here, you can see the enemies that are going to end up hitting me, the time bar of standard delivery, and how well I'm doing on that front, as well as where my ship is. So here are your option choices to be able to create different towers. Now the difficulty of a game actually comes into the speed of how fast you play it, which is something I can respect of a game. The more engines you have, the faster you are. The faster you are, the more stuff you're going to end up with because the faster you're going through the game. As you can see here, I have no engines. I'm just like kind of gliding through space, but the pace is very slow and I'm going to be able to fortify my ship a lot better because I'm not being pushed to continuously have to fight through. If I have more engines, the pace of that is going to increase. Now there's different things and it's up to you to decide how you want to actually decide upon that. And you can actually rotate how your items that are big in nature. Now this goes back to the unfortunate case of not having a custom ship because you are very predetermined by how you place your towers. And it's a bit unfortunate that that's the case. You have to place them in a certain way, and it comes down to the fact that you don't know exactly where the enemies are going to come, where the big ships are going to land. You are not going to be able to place your towers in the correct fashion, and you won't get the max stars. It doesn't come down to, well, my towers are stronger or well placed out better. It comes down to you have to put them in exactly the right positions, otherwise you will not succeed in the best manner. You cannot rush through this game and get by with any sort of build-up. You have to have exactly the build-up to be able to handle the different things. If I didn't put a shield generator on this side, this gun would just demolish my whole side. There is really little to no room to actually build your ship once you're actually out in a fashion that you want to. It's about basic survivability, and that choice of how you survive is already laid out for you. You just have to find it, which doesn't make the game all that interesting, unfortunately. Now this not only affects the playability of the game, but dramatically affects the replayability, or therefore lack of, which the game offers. Now when it comes to actually moving and recharging the items, when you click on a tower, you'll have these different choices. But the problem really is, the faster pace you go through the game, you'll have to orientate all your weapons. But if I want to orientate this third gun, I cannot move it across because of a second. So I have to move all my guns across before I can do anything. Now, this may not seem like a big issue because of the fact of the speed that we're actually going. Now I do like how the ship feels when you add a thruster. It has this sort of powerful takeoff type feel, and it's nice. So as you can see here, say I'm worried about these ships and I got this Marauder and I've got stuff going on and I'm like, oh no, there's an enemy unit coming up from here, but I'm being attacked here so I don't notice. Now I need to rotate all these cannons back in time. And that may not seem like a big deal, but the inconvenience that it is adds also into the difficulty of the game, but also the annoyance, because part of it could be like, well, that's part of the difficulty that increases the tower defense aspect. And I say, yes, I do agree with you that increases the difficulty, but it also is annoying to have to micromanage like that. Unlike other tower defense games, there is no way to pause once the mission starts. So having to micromanage every single aspect of every single tower on your entire ship during multiple flank attacks is just tedious and can be annoying. That may not bother some, but others it may be a severe deterrent. So as you can see here, I was being attacked right there, and I didn't even think to rotate these cannons around. The fact that that's something you have to be hyper vigilant of is a bit annoying. Now, the game does have some nice options here. If we put a power generator down here, we can actually go into rapid fire. Rapid fire is nice because it increases the pace of the guns. Now, the fact that the towers actually have these different options is actually nice. There is not an issue with the customization or the modules, but just the way that it implements them into the game. You have to have your layout on every mission, on every map, perfectly planned out. If you do not do it fast enough, if you do not do it correct, then you will lose. I have no issue with actually losing the game because of a speed failure time. The issue just comes down to the fact that the game severely lacks customization. Is it a decent tower defense game for what it is? Yes. But if you get this game expecting anything at all, you will not be satisfied. If you liked what you see in the game and the trailer, and the real difference is, the trailer of a game is meant to make you buy it. If you're still interested in this game after what I've shown you, then by all means get it. I mean, it's not a bad game. It's got a solid story, it's got smooth gameplay, it runs well, it sounds good, it has plenty of customized modules, but it lacks that customizational choice and that freedom to make the world yours. I feel like they were so close to getting it and they just missed it by a hair. Now that could easily be patched in an expansion or a large patch, adding something like that down the road. But as it is right now, if you want just a bare bone tower defense game with heavy micromanagement, then yes, get this game. If you're expecting something else, something a little bit more intense, whether it be upgradable towers, more tower selections, higher customizational options in how or where you place those, and a personalized ship, then no, do not get this game. I am not disappointed in my purchase in this game, but at the same time, I'm saddened by the fact that it missed the mark. I wanted it to just hit exactly on point, and maybe for some people it will, but I don't know what else to say about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been SocioPsycho, and I thank you for watching, and I hope this video has helped, as it has been a very difficult one for me to actually make, and I'll see you next time.